some quick shots, some popular topics and questions that have come through our help desk recently, and also just a quick walk through some resources that we haven't touched on in a little while that we think are important for new users to the Workbench to explore. So I'm going to share my screen. Okay, and everybody's able to see my slides?
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay, so our agenda today is pretty short. We are going to open it up for some questions today at the end. So if you do have questions, feel free to put them in the chat as we're talking. We've got a good crew of all of us program staff on the call today to help out. And also, if you have any project questions that you want answered, we will have time to talk about some of those at the end as well. But today we're going to talk about the featured workspaces. We wanted to kind of just explore the tutorial workspaces for you all. We have quite a few, and we have added them over the course of the year. And so we just wanted to kind of review those so that in case you're looking for anything in particular, we do link out to these a lot in our help desk answers. And so we just wanted to run through kind of a good little walkthrough of each of those spaces. And then we wanted to remind everyone how to report publications or presentations or abstracts or anything that you're going to be submitting. We're coming up on a year of beta access to the Workbench. And so we're finding a lot more people are getting ready to submit to conferences and things. So we're just going to run through that process quickly. And then one question that's been popping up recently is how to save a Plotly image as a PNG. And that's a really quick thing, but we're just going to show you that here. And then also a lot of people are starting to do some analysis that is having them bump up against the $300 initial credit limit that you receive as a beta member of the Workbench. So we'll show you how to request more credits and what that process involves. And then we'll open up the floor for questions. So featured workspace walkthrough. So many of you have probably accessed these already. You can access the featured workspaces through the home menu on the Researcher Workbench as you log in. It's under the 3 dashes or the hamburger menu in the top left. And so you'll see featured workspaces, and you can click on any of these, the Phenotype Library, the tutorial workspaces, or the demo projects. If you are new to the Workbench, we recommend starting with the tutorial workspaces to give you an idea of what you can do inside of the notebooks of the Workbench. So this is a busy slide, but it just shows the breadth of topics that we have covered in these tutorial workspaces. And we recommend sort of a journey through these if you're new to start with is how to get started with registered tier data. And this notebook gives you a really good overview of what data is available in the current curated data repository. And then it teaches you how to retrieve information about electronic health records, physical measurements, and survey data. So it walks through the Data 101 tutorials are in R and Python. So it walks through your setup, the data availability, data organization, and then some example queries and some tips on how to access specific parts of the CDR. And so that is a really great place. This is probably the most common one that we link out to in our responses to our questions that we receive through the help desk. And then the second topic we recommend to walk through is the survey data. So this is really convenient for those of you who are just looking at specific types or specific surveys, because the how-to guide will get you started, but then it goes into these individual surveys and shows you how to extract information from those surveys. And again, these are in both R and Python coding languages. Oops. And then some more that we have in there for you are how to work with the physical measurement data. And this is how to extract the data for participants to get an idea, seeing like PPI, electronic health records, measurements that are included in here are height, weight, BMI, waist circumference, hip circumference, blood pressure, heart rate, wheelchair use. So these are really helpful tables to extract data from. And then one of our newest workspaces is how to work with the wearable device data. And this is an overview of the Fitbit data elements that we have currently available in the CDR. And it provides best practices and tips for how to retrieve this data. Currently, we show a Python version of this workbook, but if you do have questions about coding in R, in the how to get started with registered tier data, there is a piece of that notebook in R that shows you the wearable device data and how to extract that using R. So we do have it hidden in there for you to see. We also have how to back up notebooks and intermediate results, which is a great way to make sure you're saving your files so you don't have to start over every time. And so that is really our complete look at all of the different tutorial workspaces. And these are the ones that we feel are super relevant to what you're doing. But if you have any ideas for new notebooks that you'd like to see, we'd love to hear that feedback. And we're always open to creating resources that will help you get the best out of the workbench. So if you do have any suggestions, feel free to put those in the chat or submit those to the help desk at any time. We also have the demonstration projects area, and this is for to show you the end-to-end analysis that can be performed with our data. And these projects are really aimed at demonstrating the quality, utility, and diversity of the data, and by replicating previously published studies. So if you're interested in these, we have several there listed: the FEWAS smoking, cardiovascular risk scoring, medication sequencing, and then all of us descriptive statistics. And that, again, is under the featured workspaces and the demonstration projects tab. And then we also have our Phenotype Library, which shows you how the phenotypes can be implemented within the data set, again, using examples from previously published phenotype algorithms. And you can see we have breast cancer, dementia, depression, ischemic heart disease, and type 2 diabetes phenotypes in there. Let me make sure. Yeah, okay. So are there any questions about the featured workspaces before I move on to reporting publications or presentations? Okay. So we have been really lucky recently to have been on the receiving end of a lot of people ready to publish, which is really exciting for us. And so we would love to be able to celebrate those. We do plan to post publications on our public site, researchallofus.org. And so in order to do that, we'd really like to compile all of the different publications and presentations that you all may be doing. And so in doing so, we created a link, and we've got a couple of different ways that you can access the link. One is from our public site, researchallofus.org. You can click the help button, and this tell us about a recent publication link shows up in the box. And also, again, under the home menu on your homepage of the workbench, you can, under the contact us menu, again, complete the link here, tell us about a recent publication. And I am just going to come out of this and show you what the form looks like, so you're familiar with it. It's just a simple red cap, asks for some basic information, and then you can tell us here what type of publication or abstract or poster or whatever you may be submitting. And then you can also attach a file if you have the publication ready and you'd like to share it with us. You can definitely put it there. So it's really simple. It should only take a couple of minutes, but it really does help us out and allows us to celebrate all the wonderful work that's happening within the workbench. So we really appreciate that if you can let us know, and try to let us know, hopefully maybe like 2 weeks prior to is the standard that we'd like to see, but we'd be willing to take it as soon as you have that information for us. This was a question that came up just a few times, enough to get us thinking that maybe perhaps we needed to do an FAQ on it in our user support hub. So If you haven't done this already, if you need to save a Plotly figure, it's not really pointed out well in the program. So we just wanted to indicate the camera here is where you would save it as a PNG file. And so there's no other like disk or anything like that. It's just the camera, which is a little bit misleading. So if you want to save a Plotly figure, just click on this camera and it'll let you download it and save it as a PNG file. We've also been getting some questions on running into the credit limit. Everybody gets $300 in credits as a beta member. And so we're coming up on the time where some people are running some complicated analysis or enough analysis to really bump up against that credit limit. And so we will work with you to get you some more credits. You have to, again, go under that home menu in the Researcher Workbench under Contact Us. And right here, it says request additional billing credits. And so usually what happens is those come through the Workbench help desk. And I'm actually the one that will work with you to talk a little bit more about your project and to see what we can do for you. Typically, it's $300 additional credits for a first request. And then anything above that, we will work with you to get more information, more documentation, and then we'll see what we can do as far as getting you enough credits to get through your publication or whatever the circumstance may be. I also wanted to point out, again, our COVID-19 research credit program. So if you do have a workspace dedicated to COVID-19 research, those credits will be applied to the gift fund from Intel. And so all of those credits would be covered by that program. So do let us know if you have a workspace. It's good for the entire year, 2021. So even if it's October and you decide to start a project, do let us know, because any credits associated with that workspace will go towards that Intel gift fund. So that was a really quick presentation, and I apologize for not having more for you today, but I wanted to give you guys also time to ask any questions that you might have. I'm going to stop sharing my screen for a moment here. Does anyone have any questions about what you've just heard or any project-specific questions? I'm going to stop the recording so that you can feel free to share.